All right, we're here with Al Carius again. Alan, good morning.
Hi, Bob, and hi, everybody out there. I always say this, but I certainly wish that you were sitting in the room right here with me and I could look eyeball to eyeball with each one of you. And again, tell you how important you are to me and how much you mean to me. And thank you for your continued involvement with the program and everything that you mean to me personally. So thanks for everything through the years. Thank you for staying connected with the program, and good morning.
Good morning, and thanks for watching these little videos. These are fun, and we're going to do a series of 3 videos focused on teams that had extraordinary performances from the past. And these next 3 are going to be the 3 teams that had the distinction of setting the low point total at the national championships in cross country. And we're going to start with this bunch right here. Al, why don't you give us a little rundown on this group from 1978?
Well, there's a story behind each and every one of them, and again, it would I'd never get done if I started talking about each one individually. But certainly there's Glenn Bankey up here. He and I worked together. We were the coaching staff for this team at that time. Jeff Milliman next to Glenn. This is Steve Jawar, and this person here I can't really recognize. It reminds me of somebody that I know right here, but the name cannot come into my mind right now, but maybe you'll recognize him. This is Rich Scott. He was one of the veterans on our team. Pete Amon, a young guy on our team, sophomore. This is Zobi, Keith Zobrist. He's out in Arizona right now, right there in the middle. And this is Jim Nichols from Fenton High School. Jim Nichols was a golfer in high school, and came to North Central College, became an All-American in cross-country, and he had never run cross-country in high school. Great half-miler for us as well. Pete Amon here, right there, and Dan Scarta on the end. His nickname for us was Scout. So anyway, that's our team at that point that represented us at the national championship.
Good-looking bunch of guys.
Yes.
They haven't changed a bit, I'm sure.
Well, one of them has.
Yeah, right. So, you and I were chatting beforehand, and lots of ways we could slice and dice and look at this team. But, again, to stay in our theme of something the exemplary, I'm sure you'll wrap up with your thoughts on that. But, I was looking at some stats, and there's two interesting meet snapshots, if you will, benchmarks. So I'll start in early October at Notre Dame, and we'll compare that to nationals about, 5 weeks later. So here's your top 7 at Notre Dame in order. Rich Scott, Steve Jawar, Jim Nichols, Jeff Milliman, Pete Fitch, Dan Scarta, Joe Mallon. Okay? 5 weeks later, national championship. 60-point, low point total record. First man, Jeff Milliman, Steve Jawar, followed by Jim Nichols, Dan Scarta, Rich Scott, Pete Fitch, Keith Zobrist. Quite a flip-flop there. Very interchangeable group. And so, and some youth, right? 4 out of your top 7 are sophomores. You got 2 juniors, Jawar and Nichols, and your only senior on the team, Al, was Rich Scott that year. So what are your thoughts on that team from, looking at Notre Dame to the national championship in terms of who rounded out that top 7?
Yeah, that's a great question, Bob, and there are a lot of ingredients that really come into play that make for greatness and a great team. One of them is demonstrated by this team, and that is they're interchangeable. We tell our teams every year that we're not depending on any one person. We're depending on each and every one of us collectively to be the very best that we can be, and see what the outcome's where it's gonna take us. And so when the gun went off, I never was really certain what order anybody was going to come in, but I was certain that they were going to come in with a very, very powerful, front pack near the front of the race. So that is certainly one great characteristic that they demonstrated. The youth movement, I think, is it really came from the fact that, originated from the fact that we had won the national championship in 1975, and with the No Names came back with momentum in 1976 and won again. And then, we lost, some of our upper class leaders at that point, and we lost a little bit of momentum. It's very difficult to repeat winning national championships. In spite of how easy it may look, it's very, very difficult to maintain that kind of energy, that kind of motivation, that kind of charisma, that kind of, really drive.
Yeah.
And so we had a lot of young guys that looked at our third place finish in 1977 and said, we want to turn this thing around. And get our, and I think the catalyst was pride. They said, we want to get back to where we were in 75 and 76. I think another sign of a great team is internal leadership, and I think we had a lot of great internal leadership with that team. And I think one that stands out in front with me was a young guy by the name of Steve Jawar. Steve Jawar was someone who really, in my opinion, took the lead with this young team and helped direct us into the future, and really direct us through that year to be the very, very best team that we could be, and the best in the history at that time, with the 80-point total.
That's great. So, one point of clarification, though, you accidentally mentioned 80 points. You meant 60, right?
Yes, 60 points, not 80.
Senior moment.
Yes.
We all have them. All right, cool. So really just to wrap this up then, in summary, like we have in the past, so, word or phrase that jumps out for you to describe, this team, kind of in a nutshell, the persona of this particular team.
Bob, you're really putting me on the spot here.
I always do, man.
A word or a phrase.
You had 60 seconds to figure this out. Come on.
All right, I'm gonna adhere to what you say.
All right.
A word or a phrase: purpose and character.
Huh. And that's it.
That's it.
Thanks, Al. Fun. Very fun. We'll see
Bye,
you next
everybody.
month.